It's a Sunday. Let's have some fun. Dalvin Cook or Josh Jacobs for the New York Jets? Let's get into it, baby. Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field Gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor Gosh darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Hey everybody, my name is Paul Esden Jr., aka Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily. If you guys don't know, this is the, what would that be, 7th show. We started this show. It's a New York Jets daily program every single morning at 7:30. And this is our 7th show. We're kind of completing our first full week here on the program, which I'm super excited about. And thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in each and every day at 7:30 to give us all the latest. It's a Sunday. We're going to get a little, freaky here. We will tell you that Monday through Friday, we have a guest locked in coming up on the week. This was the first weekend show, so wanted to do it solo, throw some different things around, and hopefully you guys can enjoy. So on today's program, you guys, the fans, are the guests of this program. And so let's get right into it. Let's have a little fun. It's a Sunday. Training camp is coming up this week for the New York Jets, and there's going to be plenty of that to get into, and we will. Storylines and wonderful guests. But before we get there, let's play around. Let's dabble. So Dalvin Cook, everyone know, the Jet fans know the Dalvin Cook thing. The Jets are interested. He's weighing offers. That whole thing's playing. You may say to yourself, Josh Jacobs, where the hell did that come from? Well, Mo Moton, a good buddy of mine, he works over at Bleach Report. We'll have him on later in the season for that Jets Raiders game, which should be sexy a little bit later in the season. He'll be joining me that week. But he had, for Bleach Report, he's not only does he cover the Raiders, but he's a national NFL columnist. So he shares takes and things like bold predictions that will happen before the year. And Mo Moton boldly predicted that the Jets would execute a sign-in trade with the Las Vegas Raiders for Josh Jacobs. That deadline, by the way, is coming up on Monday. And the deadline I'll explain to you is this, the franchise tag deadline. Now, here's how it works. Josh Jacobs obviously already has the franchise tag. However, if he and the Raiders don't agree to a long-term deal by 4 o'clock on Monday the 17th, we're recording this live on the 16th. By the way, if you don't watch the show live, you can always rewatch it. Feel free to do so. But tomorrow at 4 o'clock, if the Raiders and Josh Jacobs, or quite frankly, any team in Josh Jacobs, if they opened up the trade doors, did not come to terms on a long-term deal, Josh Jacobs' only choice is twofold. One, play on the franchise tag, which is just a hair over $10 million for either the Raiders or some other team if he was traded. Number two, withhold your services and do not play. Now, technically, Josh Jacobs isn't under contract, so he can't be fined one way or the other because he's not under contract. If, like Quinnen Williams, for instance, who ended up getting signed, thank the good Lord above, if he didn't show up to training camp, the Jets could have fined him because he was under contract on the 5th-year option. That is not the case here for Josh Jacobs because the Raiders actually declined his 5th-year option. So that's neither here nor there. So Mo Moton believes this disgruntled Raiders guy who is planning on skipping training camp from everything we've heard thus far, if a new deal is not reached by tomorrow at 4 o'clock, could this disgruntled guy be a player for the Jets? Here's the facts of the matter. And we have it as our poll of the day. Which would you prefer if you're a Jets fan? Would you prefer Josh Jacobs? Would you prefer Dalvin Cook? Now, there's a lot of context for both situations. Dalvin Cook can be had for a bag of money. His rights are not owned by anybody. Josh Jacobs, on the other hand, his rights belong to the Raiders. So to acquire Josh Jacobs, you would then have to trade for that young man from Las Vegas. So you'd have to trade for him. So whatever compensation cost that would go to the Raiders. You'd probably have to sign him if you could figure all that out before Monday. So again, the likelihood of this doesn't seem high, although Mo Moton predicted that it would happen. So, because like if you're the Jets, would you trade for a rental player? If you do, that price is that price has got to be down. Now, also, are the Jets going to be willing to trade a piece of the puzzle, so whatever that is, a future asset of some kind, and pay the man? That one gets a little funky. So again, the likelihood of this seems a little crazy, but we're on a Sunday. We're having some fun before training camp. Who do you prefer? Now, Josh Jacobs is younger. He's 25. Dalvin Cook is 27, about to turn 28. Josh Jacobs is a true 25-year-old. He'll be 25 throughout this season. He led the league in rushing. I feel like people are forgetting this. Josh Jacobs led the league in rushing last year, and he's been pretty solid throughout his NFL career. In 3 of his 4 seasons, he's had over 1,000 yards. The one season he didn't, he was in the 900 range. So he's been a super productive player. A lot of touchdowns, like 40 touchdowns total in all. And he's interesting. He's super interesting. And he brings a little bit of that meat grinder, a little Brutus beefcake, if you will, which I prefer having in the backfield. Because if you look at the Jets' backfield right now, as currently constructed, you have Breece Hall, who's got a little bit of that Breece lightning action, obviously some great speed and home run hitting ability. So you put him in a bucket. Izzy's kind of in that same light in terms of the explosive plays. Michael Carter's a small dude. Not that I'm, making fun or picking at. I'm vertically challenged as well, to throw that out into the universe for those who don't know, which, by the way, you guys can find out my true size, I guess. That's kind of a weird way to set that up. But Hall of Fame weekend, me, Jake Asman, Matt O'Leary, we'll all be doing a Hall of Fame get-together. Details on my social media, also in the YouTube community tab. If you guys are going to Canton for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I'm about to check that off the bucket list, baby, for the first time. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And you guys can meet us all at a bar. We'll be there from like 8 to midnight, food, drinks, all that jazz. That's all in YouTube community tab if you'd like to do that. But yeah, so again, I'm small, short, 5'3" in a slanted hill kind of height I'm talking about here. But so you go to Michael Carter, and so the problem is he's not tall or big, and he's not explosive. Like he lacks explosion. And then Zonovan Knight, like, come on. Like he's got some juice. Obviously, he had the 50-yard touchdown run in the training camp. He, a kick return prowess from NC State, but he's just not a guy. Okay, so you look at that and you say, "Wow, obviously Dalvin or Josh Jacobs would be a dramatic upgrade over the room." And if you're in this all-in season, which is a part of what Mo Moton kind of expressed, if you're part of this all-in movement to do whatever you can to increase your chances, Josh Jacobs or Dalvin Cook, quite frankly, for that matter, would certainly rev the engine from that perspective. So nonetheless, sort of fascinating. We'll see what happens. Continue to vote in the poll. Let me see what our current poll results are. By the way, make sure you always, guys, stay tuned. There's an article included with every live stream, and we have our poll of the day. I just refreshed to see where we are on poll results. That's a tongue twister. Poll results, which again, here is the poll of the day for all of you guys to consider, both the commentary in the article and also beyond. Which running back would you prefer the Jets ended up with this offseason? Josh Jacobs or Dalvin Cook? There's also the Mo Moton story linked to that piece as well. Got about 200 votes and change. This poll went out a little bit later than normal, so feel free to vote. Let me see who is leading the charge here. Let me see who is leading the charge on Dalvin Cook, Josh Jacobs right now. Dalvin Cook, the slight edge at 55.5% live as of doing this show. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Again, I think part of that is not necessarily that Dalvin Cook is better than Josh Jacobs, but rather he's just had for a pile of money. And as a guy who loves assets, draft picks, and things of that nature, I'm kind of cool with going Dalvin Cook personally. Although there is something to be said. Josh Jacobs, again, led the league in rushing, and he's several years younger than Dalvin Cook. Let's go to some other things here. We could circle back to that if you guys would like. We got some other stuff on our flight itinerary I would love to get to here on the show. I love this, the NewYorkJets.com staff, and obviously we had one of those guys on earlier this week. If you guys would like a more long-form interview, Eric Allen, EA of the New York Jets. My first time ever having him on the video show. I've had him on my radio show over the last decade, around pivot points before the season, draft, and stuff like that. EA's great. And we had a long-form interview, but there's EA, there's Caroline Hendershot. We had her on earlier this offseason. Ethan Greenberg, we had him on earlier this offseason. And Randy Lange, I've never had him on the show, an older fella. He's pretty great too. So they've been doing this like question, and they all give their answer for these columns on NewYorkJets.com. Highly recommend it, by the way. And the question most recently was, what will be the most intriguing position battle during training camp. And I found it interesting for their answers. And, here's some of the things that they went with from offensive tackle, center, linebacker were among the biggest battles. You think of that third linebacker spot, you're thinking the center spot. And also, just kind of a random note, this was on social media. The Jets still have 2 picks unsigned, and it's their top 2 picks. Will McDonald, the 15th overall pick, and Joe Tippmann, their second-round pick. Both are not signed. Now, I'm not creating a drama storm or anything like that, but both of those guys have not been signed. So it's interesting. Maybe it's one of those ones as soon as they kind of all gather this week, obviously, veterans and rookies reporting back to training camp, and then just bing, boom, bam, because it's pretty slotted. It's pretty figured out. There's not a lot to debate or hem or haw over. So I think those end up coming to fruition. But it's kind of a random nugget to throw out there that obviously has flown under the radar under bigger stories like the Dalvin Cook thing or Quinnen Williams or what have you. Not signed for both of those two. I don't think it's a big deal, but just wanted to throw that out into the universe. If I was answering this question, what will be the Jets' most intriguing position battle? I don't think left tackle's intriguing because I think it's obviously going to be Dwayne Brown. Sorry, Mekhi Becton. The third linebacker is penciled in as Jamie and Sherwood right now, so that's not really intriguing necessarily. Center is kind of intriguing. Connor McGovern, the old guy, he's appeared in 48 out of the last 50 games for the New York Jets. So all reliable for sure. You love having one of those, no doubt about it. But Joe Tippmann, obviously the higher ceiling, the projected long-term guy. Like you'd like him in theory to take the job, rip the job away from the old man, Connor McGovern, and then just run with it. And hey, it's Joe Tippmann time, baby. So that's probably where I would lean because there's a little bit of mustard on that sandwich. You could go Connor McGovern, tried and true, and then eventually pass the torch to Joe Tippmann during the season. Or you could go the other way. Joe Tippmann takes it immediately and let's ride. And worst case, break the glass. You got Connor McGovern, who I can't believe he signed a $1.9 million contract. That's fantastic. Now, I know a lot of Jet fans are kind of here and there in terms of, how they feel about Connor McGovern. A lot of people have not been big fans. He's never been the best center, and that's fine, but he's never been the worst. He's been average and sometimes a little below average, but average. He's been a solid guy, and you need solid guys in your life, just solid. You know what they are. They, kind of lunch pail guys. When they come in, you know exactly what they're bringing to the table. It's great to have those kind of guys. So I think center probably, and again, I'm evaluating their answers here on NewYorkJets.com. Again, a DT rotation and a couple of things of that nature. But I would probably lean center at this point because I don't think linebacker is as interesting. Return man, that's another good one from Ethan Greenberg. My gut says Mecole Hardman. He didn't do it a lot last year for Kansas City, but he's the guy when he first came into the league in 2019, all-pro, second-team all-pro as a return man, also a Pro Bowler. So he brings that juice, that 4.33 speed from Georgia, which I would love at the return spot. Braxton Burris is gone. He led the team in both kickoff return attempts, and also punt return attempts. So that's kind of a sneaky battle we're not talking about. Other guys in that conversation, probably Zonovan Knight. Xavier Gibson, if he makes the roster, could be a guy. That's another factor as well. Okay, I see a snowball with a question here. Does Tippmann's height influence Rodgers' play? How could it not? I mean, Tippmann is massive, but it's not like, at least from what I've seen, we've seen Aaron Rodgers in another system, another scheme, another place, so it's hard to translate it over, but it doesn't seem like he kind of has these flatlining passes. He's like this arching throw guy. So if he was a beeliner, maybe, because he could be pegging Joe Tippmann like the dodgeball movie in the back of the head. So I don't think it influences it in that way of like, he can't get it over the line of scrimmage. I don't think that's going to be a problem, but yeah, it's weird, man. There's like, I think Joe Douglas said it when they drafted Joe Tippmann. There's like, I don't know, Max Unger and a couple other ones he threw out there are 4 or 5 centers, like historically speaking, or now that are these big ass people. They're normally not 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". They're not normally that big. So that's kind of interesting. And Tippmann apparently has guard flexibility, although in the pre-draft Jets Drive videos we saw, they seem to say he was more so center than guard. But nonetheless, I think that will be interesting as well. So I think center, return man is interesting. Caroline Heddershot said the tackle position. Again, I just don't think it's compelling because I just don't think it's going to be a battle. I hope I'm wrong. I hope day one, Robert Saleh says, up yours, boy, grit. Who knows? Like the competition's on between Dwayne Brown and Mekhi Becton. I just don't believe it. I think he's going to, again, day one, my prediction this week, he comes out and says, come on, people. Dwayne Brown's my left tackle. That's what I think is going to happen. I also want to get to this, guys. And I saw a Snowball. You punched your ticket in, baby. And I see you commenting here today, and you've been very active in all of our shows, so I appreciate it. So I'm going to give you a shout out. At the end of every show here over the last week, we've been talking about my Jet schedule prediction contest. And I'll tell you this, guys. I am so proud of you guys. It revs my engine. I'm a proud father right now, just kind of, yeah, shaking my head with a little dust in my eye because I've been talking about this Jet schedule prediction contest heading into today. Because again, we have both an article and a video every day. So heading into yesterday's show, we had 17 people entered the contest. And here's the contest. I'll give you guys the quick dirty. We are doing a contest here at heavy.com and myself, Boy Green, where we're giving away a Jets jersey of your choice. If you can do these things. You enter our schedule prediction contest, all the details in the link down below. Okay. You have to tell me who the Jets are going to beat this year in the regular season, who they're going to lose to, and their final regular season record. 17-0, 10-7, whatever you believe, and put it in the comments down below of the article. So you will see. I just want to make this clear because I saw one person put it in the wrong place. Down below is our daily article. A subsection of that daily article says, in case you missed it, make sure you enter a schedule prediction contest. There is a hyperlink in that subsection that says click here and you go to the contest. You should see several other people. As a matter of fact, our number currently is 33 people have entered our contest. So if you're in the comment section, you should see a bunch of other schedule predictions. You know you're in the right place if you see a bunch of other schedule predictions. If you see no one else, you're in the wrong place. So I saw Michael, who's a big fan of the show, I think Michael Dunsing, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, he submitted it in the wrong category. So I want you guys to enter in the right category. We nearly doubled the amount of people from yesterday to today that joined. That's unbelievable. We went from 17 to 33, headlined by Snowball and a couple other people that we could recognize. Thank you guys for entering. First off, it's free and you can win free crap, so you should just enter for your own volition. But I'm saying I want as many people in as possible because I want to give back to you, the fans. You guys have been freaking awesome. And I'm going through a bunch of these here in terms of schedule prediction. We'll try to bring up a few of them on the show at the end of each program. So send those in. You can win free stuff. All you have to do is tell me who they're going to beat, who they're going to lose to in their final regular season record. Or you could go beyond that, obviously, as some people have, saying they're going to win the Super Bowl or do this, do that. So feel free to enter the contest. We have 33 people in, which is nearly double the number we had yesterday. But man, there are thousands of Jet fans. I see the numbers on these videos. We have hundreds of people watching each of these Boy Green dailies. People, enter the gosh darn contest. It is free to enter, and you can win a free Jets jersey of your choice and more prizes to come on top of that. If you nailed the correct order, this is why we tell us who they beat and who they lost to, weeks 1 through 17. If you nail that order correctly, you just win the contest. It's over. If you butcher that, which is fine, I think a lot of people will, but if you get the record right, like 11-6 or whatever the record is, you'll be entered into a pool. We'll dig in there. We'll pull out a name, and whoever wins that will win the jersey. So I have a lot of great people in here. I've already seen, I think, Buffalo Jet fans in here. We're getting all of our guests that are entering also joining in as well. Oh, yeah, so I see Snowball's here. Let me see. Snowball says 13-4. We're just going to highlight his record prediction here. He says 13-4, which, by the way, quick detour, would be the most wins in a Jets regular season ever. Okay. And I'm not saying that like, hey, that's not going to happen. I'm saying like, yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about. There's some juice there. So he predicts 13 regular season wins in here. I won't go through his entire schedule here, but he has them going 13-4, and that includes sweeping the New England Patriots, which always earns brownie points in my eye, Snowball. So great work here. And if the Jets go 13-4 and they follow this path, he will win the entire contest. If they go 13-4, I don't see a ton of 13-4s in here, so he doesn't have a lot of competition. So you guys will understand how the game works when you submit your predictions. You want to kind of peek at what other people are doing because, I mean, if you just believe they're going 12-5, then obviously go 12-5. But, you know, if you have an inkling saying, oh, now a lot of people are saying, I don't know, 14-3, or now a lot of people are saying 10-7 or whatever the thing is, you may want to strategize and get that in there. But we have 33 people entered, 34 soon because someone entered on the wrong page. So, guys, make sure you follow the instructions down below, enter the contest, win free Jet stuff, and I hope you enjoy. Before we get out of here, I do want to make sure that I throw up the Boy Green schedule, the daily schedule for this week, so you guys can mark your calendars respectively. Here is the unbelievable, and I'm throwing it up now. Here's the unbelievable Boy Green daily schedule. For this first weekend, we didn't have any guests, but I kind of liked it because I like just talking to you guys. But here are the guest lists for this week. Come on, baby. Look at this. And this is for those who don't know real quick before we get out of here. Every Monday will be Matt O'Leary here on the show. Every Monday will be Matt O'Leary. Every Thursday will be Ty Butler of ESPN 98.7. And here are the other guests that are coming up this week. We'll have Richie from Jets Media on Tuesday morning. Wednesday, Ian from Jets Central. And Friday, Jake Asman, who just had Nick Mangold, for Pete's sake, on the show. Superstar guest. Here's the guest list for this week. Again, Matt O'Leary, Jets Media, Jets Central, Ty Butler, Jake Asman, training camp, and that all gets underway officially on the 19th, which is Wednesday, and the first practice is this Saturday, baby. Jets football is back, and I hope you guys can enjoy all of it. And thank you for enjoying it here on the show. This is Boy Green Daily, snack size episodes, 20 minutes and change every single friggin' day, baby. So, guys, if you have not entered the contest, one more plea. Make sure you enter. All you diehard fans, Braden NCL and other people I'm seeing floating in and out of here, or people that are coming here for the first time, enter the contest. It's free. All the details are down below, and make sure you guys hit it up as well. Heavy.com, Jet section. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 7:30.